Good morning. The other night, Sarah had a coupon for a red box DVD where you go and you rent a DVD from the box outside of a store, and she had watched the DVD and was sitting on the counter waiting to be returned, and I said, now make sure you rewind it before you return it. And she kind of chuckled, and I said, do you know what I'm talking about? And she said she could vaguely remember when we would rent VCR or VHS tapes, VCR tapes from Blockbuster or whoever, and you would need to rewind them, of course, before you took them back. I owe Blockbuster actually a debt of gratitude. I might not have met Lee were it not for Blockbuster, and that is because in the fall of 1986, Lee was one of the few people on the Furman campus who had a VCR player. She had worked that summer and saved up her money, and one of the things she bought was a VCR. And so I was invited to her room to watch a movie, and that's how I met her, and I guess you could say the rest is history. So I've got a sense of nostalgia for those old Blockbuster days. There's only one Blockbuster left in the world, and it is in Bend, Oregon, and they have come up with a rather unique way of trying to stay in business. And so let you watch this really quickly.
So we're opening it up for 3 nights in September, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And we are turning the center of the store into a living room. And it's going to have the fold-out couch, it's got the widescreen, big console television, it's got VCRs, it's got the old throwback radio with the cassette tapes. We even have set up a closet with 90 clothes in it. So the whole idea is to have people come in and to treat this like their living room for the evening. We'll have popcorn and snacks and all kinds of great things to really kind of conclude the evening.
And people can just watch as many movies as they want while they're there?
As many as they can, as long as they want, all evening long. Hopefully they can get a little sleep in there, but if they don't, if they stay up like a slumber party and watch movies all night, that's great. This is a first-time thing for us, and it was really important, especially right now during the pandemic when everybody is kind of getting used to, having more quality family time. We thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do something really fun with our community.
So if you're like me, that may bring up a lot of nostalgia. Wow, the pull-out couch and the console TV and the VCR tape and all that kind of thing. It'd be kind of fun to go and spend an evening there at the Blockbuster and relive those old times. One of my mentors in ministry says, however, that nostalgia is the sneaking suspicion that God peeked out at some point in the past. And if we're always looking backward, always wanting to go back to the past, then we're missing what God has for us in the present. I think it's also true that we can want to go too forward into the future. I'll be looking too forward into the future and miss what God has for us right here in the present. In the first chapter of Acts, just before he ascends, we get this story about Jesus and the disciples. Luke tells us, so when they had come together, they asked Jesus, Lord, is this the time when you will restore the kingdom to Israel? Jesus replied, it is not for you to know the times or the periods that the Father has set by his own authority, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. When he had said this, as they were watching, he was lifted up, and a cloud took him out of their sight. While he was going and they were gazing toward heaven, suddenly 2 men in white robes stood by them. They said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand looking up toward heaven? This Jesus who has been taken away from you into heaven will come in the same way as you saw him go into heaven. So the disciples first act with nostalgia. Lord, is this the time you're going to restore the kingdom to Israel? Will you bring Blockbuster back to us? And Jesus says, no, I don't want you thinking about that. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to be my witnesses right now and right here in Jerusalem and in Judea and in Samaria and to the very ends of the earth. What are you going to do now to be my witnesses? Don't worry about what happened in the past and the restoration of Israel. And then as Jesus is ascending in heaven, they're still gazing up, looking into heaven as if they are waiting for the future. And the men in white robes, the angels had to tell them, don't look up into heaven, but go and do what Jesus called you to do. And so on this day, if you are feeling nostalgic, maybe not for 1986, but just for 2019, know that God has a plan for all of us. And God is working that plan out. But it's not up to us to know the days or the times what will happen. What God asked us to do is to be faithful in the here and the now. And so how is God calling you to be faithful? How is God calling you to be a witness this day? And go out and do that. You can do that because God is with us.